It's a real privilege to have Melbourne band or rock outfit Shotgun Mistress joining me today for the live stream, and we want to play their new track and have a chat to the boys. They've been a constant on the Planet Earth radio show over the last couple of years. Frontman Glenn Patrick fronting a number of outfits here in Melbourne, and it's great to have him back on the show. And joining me also today will be Diamond Dave Lee, drummer of Shotgun Mistress. So we'll kick him in live now. As you said, we've got Diamond Dave Lee and Glenn Patrick from Shotgun.
Hello there, Baxy.
Can you hear?
Hey, Glenn, hello. Yes, hello, Mike.
It was a rough landing, but we got there in the end.
Hey, thanks for getting online. We find you, Dave, in your backyard. We find you, Glenn. I think you're in Adelaide at the moment, you were saying?
Yes, indeed. Yep, just laying low here in the place where there's nothing to worry about, no COVID or anything. So I'm safe out of the three of us, I think.
No single COVID inside.
That's right. That's why I'm doing mine in my backyard.
Yeah, right. You're breathing in God's good.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. Where are you, Dave? You're in Melbourne?
Yeah, we're in Melbourne, and it's a bit fresh outside, but it's all good.
Yeah,
it's,
right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for jumping on. We've been in contact and over the period. I've been anticipating your new track, which was just dropped a couple of weeks ago online, and we did say that when that drops, we'll have a quick chat. We'll catch up since our last call. So quickly, just I wanted to maybe Dave, if you could kick us off. I just want to get an idea for what's been happening with the band, especially in the face of what we've been going through here with the COVID situation over the last over the last 6 months, but really in lockdown for the last 2 or 3 months. And what that means for the band when you're just about to
break loose and have
launch into your new song.
Yeah, exactly. We've actually been pretty busy with doing all the video clip for this new track that we've been doing. It's been a bit tough to sort of, we can't play live or anything like that for our fans or punters, that is, around Melbourne or basically anywhere at the moment, unfortunately. We haven't even been able to really rehearse besides in our own spaces, I suppose. As you can see, Glenn's in Adelaide, so he hasn't been over here with us for the studio. Matt and myself haven't even rehearsed. I've only been playing drums at home. But other than that, Mikey, we're really excited about, releasing this song finally and sharing it with the world. So, yeah. I suppose that's all I can really sort of say about what's happening at the moment.
Yeah, right. You've been pretty active. You've been active on Facebook, and like you said, you've been, I guess I was interested to hear, what does an artist do when they're kind of in lockdown and you're used to rehearsing and creating, and all of a sudden you can't perform? You've been pretty active online, and you've
been very active.
Drum fills.
Yeah, no, we've definitely been very active online. I've even been posting on videos of myself playing, but just different songs, I suppose, and other artist songs. Actually been working on getting some videos sort of shot of myself, doing some other drum work online. So, I've still been really active of playing and getting everything together. I just haven't been active with the boys per se, as much as what we would like to. Hopefully we're going to be, the restrictions will lift up a little bit more and we can actually get back into the studio and start rehearsing and getting a few things back together, and hopefully that'll be starting off next week or the week after. So it'll be great to catch up with the lads at the same time too. But I've definitely been very much playing drums. So I haven't really been lazy in that sort of side of things.
Yeah, well, the good thing is with the type of work that I do, and obviously the bands that I'm in, they all sort of work as like one big machine, really. It's not really anything that I've got to set aside time, because it's just like a natural progression between one thing and another. I do radio promotion during the day, and also while I'm doing that, I pitch our tracks out to radio too. So and when it comes to being able to fulfill a bit of sort of creativeness in life during these times. For instance, Dave, Ben, and Matt, we sort of over the past 2 months have sort of gathered together a whole bunch of like stop motion type imagery to do a Shotgun Mistress video clip, because obviously we can't do anything live or anything, and that's going really well so far. So
I've been doing a lot of artwork. Actually, I've been doing a lot of artwork too. So we actually have been pretty busy.
So I guess you're both, balancing, life and family in the meantime. You've obviously got a business as well, Dave, and you've been, balancing that in between that, the COVID, and keeping things on track. How's things going? I guess, just delving into family life and the balance there, and depending what state you're in, and trying to keep, in touch with bandmates and stay creative, like you said.
Yeah, it's just natural for me, I suppose. I just kind of, I don't know, juggle all these little moving parts around and kind of just make it work, and be very disciplined at the same time too, is sort of how I make it work. Have enough time where you're going to be spending with family, do enough time, allow enough time for work, and then also have enough time for yourself to practice, obviously, and get creative. Yes, it is tough. I won't deny that, especially now that we've sort of been locked down in homes and, having the family at home, my daughter and, my wife. It is a bit tough, but we kind of make it work, which is good.
How did you? How was that received? And I guess what's the fallout from that? Months later, leading into the next new release.
20% well received, 80% bad. To work the math, I've got no idea. It went really well. It was literally a track that we thought was a strong one at the time. It still is one of the strongest songs that we've got on the album. It was just really a really good tester, a well-balanced tester for us to sort of throw out there and see what sort of reaction we get, and see how we'd all sort of work together in the studio. And it was testament to the boys. I mean, for something that we recorded over a weekend, it was a really quick turnaround, and that was just a quick sort of video that we did while we were recording as well. So it wasn't anything too major. The track itself had been re-recorded, remixed for the album as well. So everything was just like we started fresh with the new version for the album. But yeah, I mean, it was a really good sort of test for us to see where we're prospectively placed in the industry.
How do you go about selecting that first track, to preempt, the likelihood of another single? And, have you got like a timeline or a schedule, planned out when you first write and drop that track? No friend of mine thinking that it's going to be part of, a plan to drop this one now and then the album later on, or is it just, your best track at the time?
We have, we had a rough idea of what sort of singles would be good as a leader. You never want to release like your best song first, especially if you're a relatively unknown artist, because you release your best one and then it's sort of downhill from there. So it's all about sort of building up that audience first, and definitely, personally, and obviously it's very subjective, but the best is still yet to come when it comes to single wise. But when it comes to sort of a schedule type thing, the label has their own schedule, we have our own schedule, we try and sort of meet in the middle. They're pretty flexible, which is really good. And I mean, the good thing is because it's not like a major label signing, and they're very sort of keen to sort of help out independent artists and really sort of get on board with that. We've had a lot of support from them. It's all like a 50-50 thing, so we still have a lot of creative control. But at the end of the day, we do have meetings and stuff and see which ones are going to be best, running out of the gate with. And we're just really excited to be throwing some more ear-bleeding mayhem.
Yeah.
You mentioned the record company, Dave. Is it Robot Records that you've signed with?
We've got
some good artists on the label.
Yeah, no, we've got Golden Robot Records. They're the founding members of their new label, which we're a part of, which is Crusader Records. And thank you guys for having us on board. As Glenn said, look, there is a few scheduled things in. We've got a few releases to come out. And yes, there is timelines that we're going to have, etc., to get certain things out. But the COVID-19 certainly put a bit of a block, per se, I should say, in the way for us to what we wanted to do. But unfortunately, we have what we have, and we're just going to try and get it out there as best as we possibly can with the help of our team. So,
and there's other artists on that label, on Golden Robot, that they're working with around the world.
There's a lot. Too many to probably go through. Glenn, you got Skid Row, LA Guns. There's a lot of. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Rose Tattoo.
Rose Tattoo, Electric Mary, Jesus. They got like half of Guns N' Roses on there. They got. I think they just signed Dead Kennedy. It's a really really good old school.
Yeah, old school.
Yeah.
Stuff that we love.
The best music on planet Earth.
I really like that clip, and I actually really like that song, guys. So it was. I know it must be, a hard graft to, get some traction, both in the airways commercially. And I know you've been all around Australia, promoting that track last year. I reckon it's got legs, and it still rings. I was listening to it last night and still woke up with that song kind of going around in my head, and my son said the same thing. It's got some catchy grooves, guys, and the video clip, as I said, it's got a man bun. It's got some beautiful men in it, but some excellent drumming. But seriously, some ripping guitar.
What do you want?
I really love it. You should be really proud of it. It's awesome.
Oh, we are. We love the track. Love the song. I still love the song. Still like playing the song. It's still a great song. So
that gives, I guess, our viewers a taste of Shotgun Mistress, from last year and leading into the new album, which is expected to drop. You mentioned later this year, all going well. Talk us through the new single and just a little bit about that, where it was written, how it was produced, who wrote it, and maybe there's some backstory here for this. There's quite some feeling and meaning behind the lyrics in this one.
Well, look, once again, music's subjective, so you can take it any way you like. That's usually the best way to do it. But the track itself, it was more a bit, man, my entire life, I've always sort of put my head in the sand when it comes to, dealing with certain sort of situations. I've always hated arguments, and I've always sort of shied away from confrontation. So it's just literally a song about, it's okay to be a prick. But in a fun way.
So did you write that, Glenn, yourself, or did you collaborate?
Well, I mean, it was the good thing is with this band. I mean, there's myriads of ways. You talk to any creative people that write their own music, but there's people. I used to do this all the time. Was just pick up my guitar and then just write a song with the guitar and vocals, and just that's how I'd write songs. And then a new phase came through when I joined other band Collegians, and it was more like I went into my own home recording studio. I recorded the whole song itself, like the bass, the keys, the drums, just all in a studio on my own, and then presented it to the band. But this one is such a really streamlined way of writing, and that's Matt comes up with all the guitar riffs and pretty much the layout of the song, and then he hands it over to Diamond, and then they pretty much figure out the best sort of collab when it comes to
AC and I write all the tunes.
AC and I write all the tunes, mate.
All the tunes.
All of them. And then after that, they record it live, just like a dodgy live sort of recording in the rehearsal studios. And then I take that recording, I put lyrics over it and melodies and stuff, and then we hand it to Benny. And then not only do we have a really good, consistent way of writing, but it's also a demo that we've got all the ideas down for when we go into the studio to record it professionally. So we can always use that as
pre-production
a reference.
Good.
Yeah. It's just more of associating it with being able to say, okay, no, draw a line in your sand, and knowing when to say no, knowing when, just a really good way of not being walked over. And a lot of my sort of earlier sort of 20s and stuff, I'd let people walk all over me just because it was easier, and that was just the thing. So the actual lyrics themselves, I think all of them resonated with me, really. I mean, it was just a really good time in my life last year where I just came to realize a couple of things. I think, having a daughter as well, it kind of puts life into perspective quite a lot, and it changes you from this pretty egotistical, selfish type of person. And not saying that I'm not any of those things. I'm just saying that it's toned it down a bit. That's all.
Dave, would you like to comment on that? Whether that's actually been toned down, or are we seeing some real true frontman behaviour?
Actually, like the time frame that I've known Glenn, when we first started the band, he has changed a lot. I've now got a best friend, and in amongst all this, and a brother at the same time too. I mean, we both sort of changed right through all this. whole procedure, I suppose, is when we've known each other. I mean, don't get us wrong, we're still cheeky little bastards, but we like to have a little bit of fun at the same time too. But at the same time, as Glenn said, we've got a family and things like that, and it does sort of change your outlook on everything in life and general, and brings us sort of a bit closer together, and we're sort of, we're a bit more mature and stuff now too, I suppose, coming with age.
Yeah. mature with age.
This will be edited, won't it?
That's one thing I definitely get as a viewer or a fan of Shotgun Mistress is that you guys really have fun with it, and you're very you're present online, and you're inclusive in terms of your recording process, and Glenn, you've taken the camera into places, and look, Dave, your work online's just been somewhere between hilarious and awesome. I
forgot the bloody cowbell today, didn't I? I should have that. Damn it!
So it goes to what you say. You're certainly sounds like you're having a lot of fun with it, at this stage in your life. We all sort of dream of where things might go, but what are the plans? Because I think the plan should be big from where I'm sitting. What would you like like to happen? In the next coming months when things get back to normal. Let's just say that you're back touring. You've got shows happening around Australia, and you can really support that album, and you're getting some airplay.
Just jumping on any sort of type of bandwagon with any great artist would be just good enough to get out there and just play again live. Yeah, just sort of let it go and just have a bit of fun with it, and just sort of see exactly sort of where we can go with it. Really, we love playing live, and as everyone sort of comes to our shows and sort of sees what we can actually do as a group, they're very sort of shocked at what we can do. The other guys, or I'm the only one who doesn't have a wireless gear. The other boys all have wireless stuff. And if you saw that in our last video, live performance, I should say, the boys actually took off the stage and went out to the street and sort of took the party out to the street and then sort of brought it back inside. It was actually pretty crazy fun, but I'm working on my wireless stuff, all right?
Yeah, seeing like a Tommy Lee sort of setup, and let's not go in circles like that. We can actually have a roller coaster going around the venue.
I do. I have a dream. I have a dream, but I will share that with everyone later. We'll see how this all goes first.
Have a chat to your accountant about that, whether you can build that into the next. I did see that. I saw that online. That looked to be, a pretty outrageous gig. But you're playing the new single there. Unfortunately, I missed that last show, and I think that last show you played in Melbourne was, I think, the weekend right before the shutdown here in Melbourne.
Yeah,
just a couple of days before that. Yeah. So what's planned? Coming up in the next little bit. I know it's probably hard to even know when venues are opening again. How would you go about getting in touch with venues again and trying to get some kind of support tour going on? Is it just through linking with trying to find links with friends and bands and putting things together, or have you got some schedule?
Yeah, there's a couple of different ways. I mean, Dave's got a couple of little connections, but at the same time, we've got a label that sort of takes care of sort of statistics with Spotify and stuff, and how that sort of works through the label is that they'll do their sort of marketing and pitch out like what we're doing on our own here in Australia with radio and everything. They do the same thing when it comes to releases, and when they release the track all around the world, then they'll try and find where the track's trending, and if it's trending, say in Sweden or whatever, eventually, obviously, when we can start trending, we can jump on and support a bigger band to do it that way. But as far as the whole COVID thing is concerned, and it's we're in a bit of an unknown place at the moment, but it doesn't mean that we're going to stop doing anything. We're still writing. We're halfway through the second album. So we'll just keep releasing these. But it was going to be a couple months between sort of releases, but it might be like an extra month now, just to sort of lag it out a bit until we can start gigging, at least internationally. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely heaps of gigs on the horizon, heaps of music. I mean, the album itself is like a 13-track album, and we're already halfway through the second one, so there's no sign of stopping yet.
We're not stopping for anything.
I guess we're drawn to the end of that, but I guess my next question, just to wrap up, Dave, which you might want to take, we're sort of talking about, what might be on the cards for touring next. You talked about the next album. We're talking about recording a planning album too.
We are certainly planning. Number one, look, we're looking at releasing all of that at the end of the 2020, hopefully, if everything sort of goes to plan and exactly what we have in mind, I suppose, and for the label sort of side of things too. And then we can kind of just try and get that first album out. But in the meantime, we are sort of working on album number 2 at the same time too.
Yeah, right.
Just to sort of try and sort of stay ahead of the game if we possibly can, and sort of keep proactive, as you were discussing this earlier on in the show, and then just sort of move forward with everything, I suppose. Touring and everything, it's all on hold at the moment until further notice, until we can actually sort of figure out what's going on first, when we're allowed to actually do anything, and if it's safe enough to be able to sort of do anything at the same time too. We don't want to put anyone into danger or vice versa, or so we'll just keep releasing things online as we're doing right now, for the safety of everybody. And then, we're really looking forward to actually getting back out there and actually being able to perform live again. I'm really missing that, missing the energy, that we create on stage, and the shenanigans that we actually have and do, and the craziness of it all. And, really missing that at the moment. But it's not stopping us. But in the meantime, we'll just keep writing and just trying to get our tracks out there, and having the support from Crusader Records and Golden Robot Records helping us out at the same time too, and a few people that we know in the industry at the same time as well. We just got to try our best to try and just sort of get everything out there, and hope for the best that everybody likes what we have and can help us, support us, and we can keep being creative and just keep writing great music that we think's great, and just get everything back out there. Oh, hello, he's decided to come on back in line. He's a genie. He's a genie. He just disappears and then come back. It's like,
technology.
Oh, it's a wonderful thing.
Frontman David Copperfield incorporate that into the show there, Glenn. Just appearing and just disappearing and reappearing.
I could have set up the smoke machine.
We were just talking about, other ways to maybe promote just in light of the situation we're in. Even we have to reinvent, and even from a radio point of view, or find other ways. You can't even going into places like radio stations and interviewing people live. So you got to find other ways. But what I've found is that that avenue through the internet and the resources available through live streaming. Once we kind of everyone seems to have really adapted to that over the last few months, the idea of Zoom calls and having their face on camera. But maybe it could just be the way that we expand, and the Planet Earth show today is going the same way. So as we have a tour of Dave's house.
Sorry, I'm running out of battery, so I thought I'd better go in and plug myself in.
As well.
All right. Well, we've mixed a whole heap of different genres sort of together that we love, isn't it, Glenn?
Definitely. There's definitely a lot of
Slash influence.
Heaps.
Heaps of Slash influence. We love, anything that man does. We love a lot of, a bit of Motley Crue sort of feel to it as well, I suppose. To save me from myself, in my head, I had a bit of a Pantera sort of image going on for the playing sort of side of things, not vocally, but for the playing side. I don't know, Glenn. A bit of AC/DC kind of thing.
Yeah. A
strange
lot of bands that don't really take themselves too seriously, I think, is key. Because most of the time when we're playing, I'm inspired by a lot of other bands, like the Alter Bridges as well. But they're a very serious band, so you see them live, they're always very serious. Even like Slash's band with Miles, all really serious. Mikey, you came to the Slash gig with us all, and it was just but I think definitely sort of inspiration, like live inspiration, definitely more of like the more fun bands like your Motleys and everything. Just letting loose.
You got to let loose.
That's it, exactly. I think inspiration wise, that's pretty much where it is. Darkness, all that stuff.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, look. Looking forward to that.
Can you imagine Glennie with spandex on? We've got to get Glennie in some spandex first if we're going to be the darkness. Sorry.
You mentioned taking yourself seriously. I think if you are taking yourself seriously, Glenn, you'll start getting spandex to match that body of yours, and that's putting it out there. if you've got it, just flaunt it, man. So
I don't
Right.
have any, so maybe I'll raid your cupboard.
I'm in the COVID leisure wear, and a lot of that's feels spandexy. Well, if you, I'll send you a shot later for what the back of the house looks like here. It's more of a do-it-yourself home studio job. So I think when we get this streamlined, I can probably go headset free, and we can build up something a little
I
better.
see that you have some great albums behind you there, Mikey. You got a bit of rage going on, a bit of audio slave there, if I'm not mistaken. And I can't see because I've got the live thing right there, so I can't see what the other one is. Oh, a bit of Soundgarden, of course. Look at that. Jeez, he's pretty good. Even though I'm
listening. Yeah, I batch them into what I'm listening to each week, and over the last 2 or 3 weeks, it's been pretty heavy into, alt rock, 90s grunge stuff, both on record and cassette over here. So it's been really heavy with the Rage Against the Machine, and anything to do with Tommy Morello, to be honest, and that's got me well into Audio Slave, and so yeah, that's the 3 for this week. Hey, look, I'm gonna pretty much leave it at that, guys, because I'm very excited to see when the next local tour dates come up. I'll be there front and center in the crowd, so I'd appreciate if you could throw me a drumstick, Dave.
No worries at all, sir.
I'll probably be about, for you, Glenn, I'll probably be about ball level in terms of stage. So if you could probably just give us a few extra frontman thrusts, that'd be awesome. But one thing's for sure, I'll 100% be there the next show. I'm really looking forward to seeing the band kick off live because, I know we're joking around a little bit, but I think you guys absolutely rock. You're true professionals and you're sounding awesome. I can't wait to hear the rest of the album. I'll be playing it more here on the Planet Earth stream as we go along, and including you in the playlist when you get a clip sorted. And wishing you all the best for the next few months, and come and have a chat to us again, perhaps when you got some dates sorted out. Tour dates, that is, not just dates on the side, Glenn.
Yep, that sounds awesome, Mikey.
Speaking of which, Glenn, do you have any dates on the side at the moment? How are you tracking Swear at the moment, or are you?
I'm taken now.
He's taken now.
He's taken.
I'm happy. Yeah.
Okay, more about that off air. Okay. We'll leave it at that. Any final words from you guys, or I really appreciate having you on today. It's been a laugh, and can't wait to hear the rest of the stuff. Have you back in a little while.
Awesome, Mikey. Thank you very much for having us on your show. Just want to shout out to Golden Robot Records and Crusader Records, and to my band members and all the fans all around the world. To say thank you very much for supporting and having us today, and hope you like what you're seeing and hearing. And stay in touch, and we'll keep ourselves in touch with you guys.
Mikey Bax, thank you so much for having us as well, mate. Really appreciate you always taking the time to have a chat to us. And thanks to Dave, our band ambassador. And go, Dave.
Save me from myself.
See you guys. Have a great weekend, and we'll speak to you again soon.
Thank you, Mikey. Take care.
Glenn Patrick, will do. And Diamond Dave Lee, drummer and frontman for Shotgun Mistress, Melbourne's very own, reigning supreme here in Melbourne. In rock, we're going to play their new track closing out today's edition of Planet Earth. Thanks for tuning in. It hasn't been an awesome experience technically, but we do this because we're streaming live due to COVID, and we're setting up the new studio. But it's been great to have a fair income Aussie rock band joining me here in the Planet Earth home studio today. More about them as we go along. Hey, stay tuned to this channel, and on our Facebook page you can get our live link to everything that's happening on Planet Earth each week, and a link through to all of our channels, that being on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram TV, and even a little bit on Twitter, perhaps, but mostly via this channel and on YouTube with some live stuff before we may or may not get back live on air at some point. But stay tuned, hey. Have yourselves an awesome weekend. Keep persisting with some social distancing. Let's not go overboard, but keep drinking, but keep a little safe distance amongst you, and stay safe and happy with your families, and enjoy the time you have with them as well. Have a great weekend. I'll leave you with this last track by Shotgun Mistress, and see you all again on the other side next week. Bless you all.
Planet Earth.